Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday Leading Change episode this week with Med Marouane Ajraoui. Hey Med Marouane, welcome back.
Hello, welcome Vasco. Always a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Med Marouane, on Wednesdays, we want to dive into change because, of course, change is one of those things that we are constantly working with as Scrum Masters. So we want you to tell us a story of a change process you were involved with and pay special attention and describe for us those tools, the techniques you learned during that change process that you still use today.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's say that through the change, I did like several transformations. And something that is really important, I would say, is get involved in the change where you believe. I mean, do what you believe in and know how to choose your battles.
All right. So tell us what that means in practice. Because, I mean, I understand the word believe, so something you believe in. But for a Scrum Master, what does that mean? What was your story there, Med Marouane?
Okay, I have like different stories, but I will pick up one. I arrived to a huge organization, really huge, at an international level, and they were launching a transformation. They were opening new hubs in different other countries. I was working with different local markets as an agile coach, and we were going to the change. And the thing is that first, this organization, they wanted to go agile. So I thought, okay, let's help them. That's great. And then when I get involved on it, I start seeing like, okay, when I try to do things, when people they really want to go into that, I started to see that there were a pushback, like really strong pushback from managers, for instance.
So you're describing that the teams were kind of on board. They liked the idea of adopting Agile, but then as you started working with the teams, you started to observe that the team managers were not on board.
Yeah, they were not.
So how did they show their resistance to this new approach and new way of working?
It was like okay, using their power, asking, for instance, for continuously reports to know everything about the one-to-one interviews that you could be holding with some members of the teams. They were asking that as an agile coach, any petition that you receive to help any team, that they must approve it. So teams autonomy and individuals autonomy, proactivity was not highly appreciated by the managers, by some of them. There were others that they were really having a really great mindset, but there were like some that they were making a pushback to the transformation in that way. Then what is my learning? My learning from that experience is that when you have an organization that you have like N+7 or N+8, really hierarchical, and you need to have approval from the N+7 or N+8. I mean, there is no readiness to go to agility. So better review the structure, review the organigram and the hierarchy, and maybe make it a little much more flat.
Of course. I mean, as agile coaches, we need to work where we are, right? If we end up working in an organization that is 8+1 levels or 10 or 14, as I did way back when, like there's nothing we can do. That's the organization we're in. Of course, we could quit. We could go away. Obviously, that's one possibility. But if we don't want to go away, if we don't want to quit, there's some things that we can and maybe should be doing in order to work within that organization. And you've been involved in many of these transformations. So, Med Marouane, as you look back at your experience, what are the things you take with you? What are those tools, those techniques that you apply today when working in that kind of organization?
First thing is the sociomap. Is to draw a sociomap to
What do
understand
you mean by sociomap? Help us understand what that is.
a sociomap. It's like the different teams, the different people on the team, the different roles, the different objectives that must have each role, the different interests that might have each individual in the organization, and maybe focus on the one that has more power, that are more powerful in the circles. So the first thing is to start identifying where is the circle of power and what are the circles of power that are not aligned, to understand all the energies that are moving this environment, all the interests that are moving this environment. So once you draw this sociomap, then you can assess this sociomap based on two variables, what we call a tool that is a stakeholder mapping. Uh, you have influence and you have interest. So in the change you want to bring, you need to assess the sociomap based on these two variables. Who are really interested to go with you in that change and who has a
So
high
who is bought
influence?
in, right?
Yes. Who is bought in? So you engage them more and you give them more play and role on this transformation. And who is actually having interest but not having that much influence. So you need to keep them informed and you keep them also involved. Who is having a lot of influence but is not having interest. So you need also to try to keep them happy so they don't go against the flow of the transformation. Okay, and what I really learned is it's focusing on the ones that have interest and have more influence, and the ones that they really want to change the things is the key, because if you focus on the others, you will be losing your energy, and your energy is limited. But if you focus on the ones that they really want to go with the change, then the energy will be growing, and the whole energy of everybody will pull the others with the time. It will be pulling them.
Yeah,
So
actually, that's a very good point. Very often we think that we should focus on the skeptics, right? We should turn them around and convince them and so on. And I think one thing that you said, which I think is very important, is that if we do that, if we focus on the skeptics, we are actually losing all of our energy to turn them around. And then those that are on the side, the ones that are interested, they want to go with us, and they have the influence, so they might even be able to help us. We don't pay attention to those because they are so-called bought in. So one of the things that I often think in this is that we need to be very careful to think of and maybe choose to work with those that can amplify the message, right? Like they can bring an idea that you shared with them to their peers and to their teams,
yeah,
rather than with those that are just going to push back, right? So they're going to counter everything that you present. What do
yeah,
you think about that?
definitely. I have been coaching several Scrum Masters and also Agile coaches in the past, and this was a key message I was giving to them. Don't focus on the ones that they don't want to do the daily or that they don't want to work on Agile. No, focus on the ones that they really want to do it. And then the ones that they don't want to do it, they will just see people that are doing it and are happy with it. So at some point, they will be asking themselves, okay, what if I try? But the thing is that when you go and you focus on the ones on the refractors, sometimes trying convincing people will just bring confrontation and you will be losing so much energy. So better just be respectful, respect their position, and do your work with the ones that they really want to get into the change. And I'm sure it always happened to me, and it always happened to the scrum masters and coaches I was coaching, because they came back to me and they told me that was great. At the end, people uh, they were coming to them to tell them, okay, what's going on? Now you are not trying to convince me anymore to do agile. Yeah, I would like to try. I would like to see how it is. Okay, I will do that. And it's just like it did happen by repetition and by empiricism. That's what happened factually.
Yeah, absolutely. A great tip. Thank you for sharing that with us, Med Marouane.
Really welcome. My pleasure. I hope it helps the community.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role, we'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.